Hi Ryan, how are
Hey,
you?
I'm good. I just want to like literally come into the room and just like look at all these cool things. How's
There's
it
a
going?
lot. I've got so much to ask. First of all, the film looks amazing. I know you were very excited about being able to shoot on 35 millimeter. It really pops. Can you talk about filming to the medium that you're using for it?
Sorry, say it again. The what?
Can you talk about filming for the medium that you're using for it? Because this just looks so good.
Yeah, I mean, I did, originally originally right at the start there wasn't a plan to shoot it on film. We just, I just thought we're going to shoot this digitally, and then they said, do you want to shoot on film? And I was like, oh, can we shoot on 35? And then from there I was starting to think like, oh shit, this is going to be really hard to shoot on film, and this, and it really wasn't. We, like with anything, you do the pre-prod, you do the planning, you get you get the right DP, you get the right camera loader, you get the right people together. And there was something very special about shooting on 30. There's nothing quite like film. That's the thing. There's nothing quite like film. It's just has this look and this grit. And being on set shooting film, there's this discipline of respect that, it's not like when you shoot digital and somebody's talking in the background or somebody's making a noise and you go like cut, and you can't just keep rolling. So there was this, just like everybody was like quiet on every take, and actors were like we're on it because they knew like we couldn't
Yeah.
do like take after take after take after take. So I think there was a lot of planning and pre-prod and everything that went into that. And then because we're making street trash, and because it's that, that 80s feel, it just lent itself so much more that it's this type of film of gore and prosthetics. And originally with the original Street Trash, I was a fan of the original. So when I was approached to do this film, I was like, fuck yeah, I'd fucking love to do this film. But what was important for me was like, I cannot copy the original. I want to make more of a sequel, a loose sequel, have it in that same world, have the goo, have the multicolored goo, have that 80s prosthetics, have everything in camera. And as an 80s lover, that's what I grew up on. I'm more about prosthetics and in camera than visual effects. And for me, it needed to be a stronger story, a strong narrative film, and strong characters that we go on this journey with.
Well, and you kept saying the 80s stuff and it really felt it. Like you really captured it, especially like the ending music and everything that you used and just the fact that the colors were so neon and I really love that. And you really went for it. Can you talk about um the 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 special effects in this were so great and gritty and just there were so many of them. I wasn't expecting like you had like at least half a dozen, if not more, ripping faces off, and the pustules, which were
Yeah,
just man, they
yeah.
were gnarly.
Yeah, it was a lot, it was a lot of fun. If you look at the original, I think it was like five main melts in the, in the original film. So obviously with this, it was like we gotta push it, we gotta push it more, So, we had about six or seven main melts, and then there was all the other like small little melts and other prosthetics and gore and chainsaw or whatever, there was all these
It was
extra things.
gnarly.
And that was awesome. It was like being a kid again, watching these films. And while you're shooting this prosthetic stuff, on film as well, it's like the lighting has to be perfect, the prosthetics has to be set, and it's all timed with the air pressure and the blood and the goo, and everything comes out. Sometimes we would have to reset, and it would take an hour or 2 hours to like reset something, or we're shooting on two cameras at the same time to get the angles so we can cut to. And but yeah, it was it's always fun. It's not always that fun for some of the actors who
There's
has the
no way.
prosthetic on. They can they'll love it afterwards, but while they're doing it, they're like, hey, it was freezing, it was cold, it was uncomfortable. I was in makeup for like 5, 6 hours. But besides that, there's nothing better again with actors just being there and feeling the blood spray on them and not some fucking CGI shit. It's just like it's there and it's a part of the fun and the goo and it's great.
I, I will
We had a
I
great
will
team.
say probably even more than and I'm sure you've heard this already, probably more than the melts. The grossest thing in this movie for me was the foot and the eating off of the foot. That I almost had to pause the movie and just take a moment. That
Yeah,
was the just wow.
yeah.
Why? Why did you do
Yeah.
that?
While I was writing that, I couldn't stop laughing my head off while I was writing it. I remember I couldn't stop laughing my head off. In fact, I was sitting right where I'm sitting now, and I was writing it, and I was laughing my head off when I wrote it. And when it came to shooting that scene, um, so the Rat King, she's got all that, the nails and the black makeup and dirt on her feet. And then, one of our guys, we made the whatever the goo porridge or whatever the fuck it was, that like food sauce or whatever it was,
Ugh,
which was obviously
edible.
eatable, edible. But it was the actor, once she dipped her foot in it and he had to grab her foot and like lick in between it, it was like, dude, it's fucking gross. And he nearly threw up a few times. I'm like, dude, it's not that bad. And he goes, dude, you try it. You try it. And I was like, I will. So I dipped my hand in it and took a taste. And I was like, dude, it's all right. It's the foot that you're tasting.
It's the
It's the foot that you're tasting in the dirt. This stuff is totally it's fine. It's the makeup on the foot
Oh,
and
that's
stuff that
gross.
you're
Oh
tasting
man.
that is rank. It's not the actual sauce. And then he
Oh.
was like, because he didn't expect me to taste it. He didn't expect me to taste it. I'm like, dude, you can eat this. It's fine. Like, I will. I'll fucking taste it. So,
So just
so
make her
yeah.
have more on her foot so you don't have to touch the actual foot. There you go. There's my notes. That's so
That
well.
was fun.
Well, one thing that I wanted to talk to you about this film was that I really love the characters. The characters were great, and I was just curious on casting this. How did you explain this to the actors? Were they aware of the original? And just they just were great. I don't know how to more explain it. They were so fun and interesting, and just such a great group that you were rooting for them the whole way.
Yeah. That's why it's so important. Like as a writer, it's so important to have characters that you like and you feel for and that you enjoy. And it was it's a bunch of misfits that, each character was very different. Somebody can relate to each character or somebody will have a favorite out of each of them. And it was very important. I love as a director, I love casting. I really enjoy casting because a lot of the time when I'm writing, I'm writing for certain actors, and then this whole film, honestly, there must have been about 3 or 4 people that actually auditioned, and that's it.
Wow.
Everybody else I cast. Obviously, Gary Green, who played Fry Barry in this. He's 2-bit. Obviously, I'm like, he has to be in this film. He has to
He's
be a
great.
part of the gang. He has to be, a fucking acid head. This dude is, sees this imaginary friend, and and Gary's a very, very close friend of mine. He looks after my cat when I'm on holiday, so
Yeah.
he's a good friend. All of them, they're all like really close friends. Sean Cameron Michael, that played Ronald, he's like one of my best friends as well. Like I've worked with him many times over the years. He's a great actor. I admire. I love what he does. He's done so many fucking cool films and TV series and stuff like that. He's one of our best like South African actors. He's so fucking cool. And Joe Vass is also one of my favorite South African actors who plays Chef in this movie. I styled him as Stanley Kubrick, very Stanley
I
Kubrick
know. I noticed that. I was like,
movie. And yeah, so it was everybody in this film, Pap and Voss was like the Cheech and Chong. But also even the wardrobe for everybody was all like 80s references or 70s references. So, there was Chef, which, like I said, Stanley Kubrick, or Ronald is like Robin Williams, Fisher King in the early 90s movie. Two Bit was the yellow gloves and the red dungarees, which was Roger Rabbit. Alex the girl was like Ripley from Aliens. Slade and Clover from the Rat King gang. They were Escape from New York. Snake Plissken and the Duke. So it's there's lots of Easter eggs. There's lots of cool Easter
I
eggs in there.
gotta the going from one support group to the other made me think of Fight Club because
Yeah,
of
yeah.
that just was I was like that's hilarious. Just I gotta do this one to go get this one.
Yeah, obviously big fan of Fight Club, and that's like one of the references I had when I was writing it. The funny thing is that scene was actually longer originally, and we needed to cut it short because it was a flashback in itself, so it had to be short. And it was so hard for me to cut it short. It needed to be cut short, but it was so hard to cut me short because there was so much more funny stuff in that scene. But I had like I couldn't I couldn't play the whole scene. It would have been too long, and then it was like fuck. The flashback would have been like way too long. But there was a lot of fucking funny bits in that scene. But it's all on Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray. All the deleted
Yes.
scenes
Cool.
will be on there. And as you know, right now it's in America, it's on Apple TV and Prime. Next month it comes out on Screenbox. Yeah.
So one thing I have to say, you were Sokol, right? You voiced
Yeah.
the little blue like uh Hornball, which who was
Yeah.
great. I loved him, and it was actually sad to see Two Bit kind of like
It was. It was.
was so
Everybody,
disappointed.
like when I watched that at the New Beverly in LA, everybody was like, "Ah," and it was when he had to go, I can't remember the line, but it's like, "I have to go now,"
Yeah,
I
there's
have to
so
go
many
say
holes I
bye,
have to go through.
and and then you just saw Tubek going, like really sad and down. But yeah, it was fun. It was really fun to play that, uh, to do Sokol's voice. It was funny. It was
It
great.
was that was great. So, I think I'm probably going to lose you pretty soon, but I wanted to ask you about the fact that you did some amazing practical effects in this, and now you've got movies like Terrifier that are just showing people the power of doing practical effects and throwing back to like hardcore horror splatter like we used to have in the glory days. um, you know, where do you see this going? Do you want to do more of this kind of thing, or it has to be more difficult, as you said, especially if you're doing film. But can you talk about that experience and how we see this resurgence?
Yeah, I think as an 80s film lover, it's a must to do practical effects and in-camera effects. It's a part of, I guess, my style of stuff that I want to do. But I also think we're in that generation now of it's definitely because of like the Substance and Terrify and all these, and all these movies that are really pushing the horror scene again. It's like, the end of the 70s and early 80s, there was this rise. And I think it's great to be a part of that rise now where everybody is starting to watch more of these films, and it's becoming like a whole big thing again with the prosthetics, and that's an awesome thing to be to be a part of. And yeah, it's got to be in camera. It makes such a difference. Some people are so used to this. Listen, the movies that we watch these days, it's fucking CGI, green screen, it's everything. And then it's like, what is real? Like
Yeah,
nothing is real. And that's why stories and characters are going out the window, because it's all about the action, it's all about the visual effects. And that's why you gotta have a strong story, and you gotta have strong characters. And to make it even better, have practical effects. Have that in there for the actors and for the audience, that it looks real, it feels real. And I think that's what's important. And I've had nothing but a lot of love from the original fans of Street Trash that has watched this movie so far and has really loved it. And there's people already saying, "Oh, it's already like a cult film. It's already like a getting
it will
cult
be.
status." and that's cool. And it's so great to hear that, because that's what happened to Fried Barry. Straight away with Fried Barry, and it was like, fuck, this is a cult film. This is what it's going to become, and it did. And so I really do hope everybody keeps saying that. And I think, yeah, I think it will be awesome to see the audience in the horror community and outside the horror community being it more acceptable in out there, and more of a commercial thing that people will go check out. Because as a kid, was everybody was always passing around the VHSs,
Yep.
whether it was fucking recorded off the TV, or you had the original, or you got it from the video shop, or your mates were passing around Nightmare on Elm Street, and it was a thing. So yeah,
I miss those
it's all.
days. Those were good
I must
days.
do that.
Dude,
It's
I'd
the it's
I'd I'd spend like hours just hunting down movies. It was so
it's the
fantastic.
video shop, man. It's the video shop. Being in the video shop for hours. My mum would stay at home because she knows me, my brother, my dad are gonna be fucking hours
Yep.
sitting there watching and looking for all these things. But yeah, it's there's nothing quite like that. I don't think this generation will ever experience that. It was always based off the cover. You'd pick up the cover and go, "Oh, this looks amazing.
We didn't
I
have
want to
the
watch."
internet. We had the back of the VHS tape. That's
Yeah.
how,
And half the time, people didn't even look at the back. It was just like, oh, amazing
yeah.
front cover. Oh, that looks fucking cool. Let's get it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, last thing I wanted to ask you about, because right now in the States, we've had fun. And I noticed very distinctly that there was a lot of orange on the mayor when he died, in the movie. Spoiler, sorry. But yeah, the bad guy always has to lose in this film. But you used a lot of orange, and I'm curious about how you think about the fact that in the 80s there was a lot of things going on very similarly within society that street trash spoke to. And now you've got your this new street trash, which sadly is very timely again and speaks to a lot of things going on in the world. And I was just curious about the power of a movie like this. People just think, "Oh, it's a gore fest, it's a gore fest." No, this one, just like the original, speaks to stuff going on in the world. And um I just was wondering about your take on that, and how using this genre to speak to that in this capacity works.
Yeah, listen, I love all genres. I fucking love horror. I love all genres. There's a time, it's like music. There's a time and place for every type of movie to sit there and watch. There's a time and place for every type of movie, and I'll always be a fan of different genre films. And for me, writing scripts and having um, a layered story or layered backdrop of social commentary of what's going on in the world. We've all been through COVID. We all know that the government was like, "Oh, you gotta take this. You gotta take this jab. You gotta take that jab. Yeah, you can't travel unless you have this." And it's fucking crowd control. Governments do fucking control people, and it's a thing. And after COVID, you got to remember, everybody, we're on lockdown. I think people just like, it's like a misty memory now. You know what I mean? Like, people just like fucking forget about it. We were, if I told you 2 days before lockdown, when the whole fucking world was like lockdown, the whole world's gonna be in lockdown, you would literally go, Ryan, you sound fucking stupid. You
Yeah.
sound fucking crazy. But everybody forgets. Like, it was a big fucking thing. It was like, nobody fucking worked. No shops were open, or it was only supermarkets or this or this.
Yeah.
There was nothing fucking open. So it just shows you, all these things. And people lost their fucking homes. People lost their businesses. And, even before, but more so after COVID, the homelessness is fucking nuts. It's fucking crazy out there. Whether it's in South Africa or England or America, there's so many fucking homeless people, and it's wrong, and it's fucking crazy. So it's somebody, like you, that will get it and watch the film and see that there's depth within the film. And then there's some people that will just watch it, which is okay. There's some people that will watch it that won't even pick up on that type of stuff. You know what I mean? And that's okay, because I put it there for myself and for other people like you to pick it up. But it's also fine, because I can also look at the film and go, hey, listen, it's just a fucking melt movie. At the same time, you know what I mean? I was just like, don't fucking look too far into it. But it for me, it was a choice and it was a thing that I put there. But I can, like I said, I can step back and go, it's just a fucking melt movie. I'm not trying to fucking win an Oscar with it. It's fun and it's it's blood and guts and gore, and I want people to have a fun time. It's a fun movie. Watch it with a group of people, and if you pick up on great detail and Easter eggs and backdrops of stuff, then it's cool, and it's just something that I like to do. And if people pick it up like you, then that's awesome.
I have PTSD still from COVID. Like I just remember we cleaned everything when we had it delivered to the house with like wet
Yeah, yeah.
naps and things. It was people
Yeah, that's
people like
crazy. People don't talk about it anymore.
yeah,
That's
I know.
People don't talk about it anymore. And that's why it's not that crazy if something else happens now to know what's happened already, what people already forget about. Like shit ain't anything can happen. That's the funny thing. It's like that's happened, people forget about it. But anything, if that can happen, anything is not that far-fetched. It's really not that
True.
far-fetched.
It's true. Melting people and their bones breaking off as they're
That's what it
walking.
is. That's what it
Yeah,
is, Nick.
it can happen,
Melting.
man. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ryan, for making this. I'm one of the I was surprised people like my husband did not know what street trash was. And I'm like, are you serious? How do you not know about this? This was
Yeah.
classic.
You
I,
see,
I
for the new audience, this is what's great. It's just for a new audience, it can be a standalone film, but for
yeah,
the fan, it's a sequel, and it's great that people will go revisit the original film and have more people go watch the original. And it's the same for me with Street Trash. If people haven't seen Friar Barry, they'll go visit Friar Barry. So it's awesome.
it's awesome, man. Thank you so much. I really loved it. You rock. This movie was amazing. So anybody I can tell about it, I'll tell about it.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate being on here. And then, yeah, if anybody's watching, if you watch the film and you enjoy it, show some love on the letterbox. Let me know what you think. I'm always all ears.
Awesome, man. Thank you again.